Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, I know you told me that you had the recording.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I forget the name. What was the name again?
Neely. Yep.
Neely. Okay. Yep. All right. Very good. And in the recording, I just want to make sure my notes are right. How long was the recording again?
About 5 minutes, 5 seconds.
Okay, 5 minutes, 5 seconds. And how long ago was that?
That was November 15th, the evening of his death.
Evening, that's right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Neely was the person, so you said Neely did the shooting, correct?
Neely allegedly did the shooting, yes.
Allegedly did the shooting.
Yes.
Okay. And why'd she call you?
I called her.
You called her. Okay.
I did.
Just.
She did mention that she made other phone calls to make sure other people had her recording as well.
So she told other people as well?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Who all did she tell? Do you know who she told?
Well, I know for a fact I have a recording and Kathy Watson has a recording.
Okay. Who's Kathy?
She was another one of Neely's. Neely was a go-to. It was like a mother to her, so.
Got it.
I think she was involved with the whole kidnapping case for Neely's kid, too. I think that's where Kathy comes in play. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, was that like a parental custody type deal, kidnapping?
I do believe so. I think that happened in Kentucky, and then she took off to another state.
Okay. And that was Neely that did that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what exactly did Neely tell you again on the phone call?
Would you like me to play the recording? I can do so.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to put you on speaker.
Okay.
And we'll hope that my children won't come in.
Yeah.
If they do, they do. That's all right.
Yeah, well, we'll try not to.
Oh, I'll stop it right away because I don't want them.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. Let me get to it here. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I've already given this and recorded, and a few people have recorded me talking about it. I have been involved with E-Clause in Kirk's Law Corner before anybody else was. My children are being trafficked, and I know who is doing it, part of it, and I have evidence and proof of it. Listen, by the way, Jamie, I tried to call 911. My phone, it would not let me call 911. I have all this. I have my phone. I have everything. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to tell and her daughter that, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't going to hurt them or do anything to them, but I had to stop. He was going to he is hurting my children. I have all the websites. I have everything.
Okay.
And I've spread it out. Other people know about it.
Neely, what did you do?
Listen, you already know. You wouldn't be calling me.
But Neely,
Okay.
oh my God, what happened?
All right.
This is where she hangs up on me and I call her back.
Okay.
So it's still going. My recording's still going.
Okay.
Neely, don't hang up.
I have recordings. I have experience of talking bad about you. I don't know who all's involved, and I don't know if you're involved, but all I know is that I have been fighting for 10 years, but has exploited me. He filed my case into his case. He just told me, I just have evidence that they are hurting children. I tried to call 911. I need to know someone that I can call that will help me.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is big. I tried to call 911. It wouldn't let me. Jamie, I have been involved since day one with them. Okay?
Yeah.
I have everything. Okay? He was never planning on, he was supposed to do something tonight, and he signed it, and it wasn't happening. That's because what they're doing, he's exploited me. Evil. Okay? They're hurting children. I'm not going, and they've exploited the wrong one, because my child was abused by the ninth satanic circle. Okay? I don't care how high they're up. God has had me on a journey. I don't know why he's had me on this journey, but if it was to stop the person that was doing this, so be it. So be it. My children were being harmed. He told me tonight that he was going to have the police officer in Florida and another police officer pick us all up. And I said, no, they weren't going to ever do that. He was going to hide everything under the rug and get rid of it and kill me and my children.
What?
Yes, I have the evidence. Jamie, I have the evidence on my laptop right now.
Oh my God.
And his laptops. It's all in his house. I tried to call 911 to tell him what was going on, to come to the house that I needed help. You know what I'm saying? What was going on? 911 wouldn't even work. You have recordings. I've sent out recordings. I don't know who's involved. Why? There has been too much going on. People that are doing good don't act like that. Do you realize that her kid is there, like, cutting herself, starving, like, hungry? Neely, you're recording me. Neely, okay, listen to me for a minute, okay? Listen, I gotta call you back. I gotta get this out other places, and then you can call me back. You promised you'll call.
And that's where my recorder had died.
Okay. All right. Did she know you were recording?
Yeah, she asked me. That's why I said, okay. And then that's when she began, because she asked me to go get a recorder. She needs to get it out there.
So did she ever tell you at any point that she was the one that shot him?
No, and, I wanted to ask her straight out, but I knew she'd hang up, and that's why I said, what did you do? And that's when she hung up on me, and so I kind of wanted just her to talk.
Okay. All right. Do you know if she did tell anybody that she shot him?
When I talked to Kathy, because Kathy called me later, and if you guys want my phone logs, I can screenshot them.
Okay.
And send them to you. I'm absolutely open to that.
Okay.
But when I talked to Kathy, she basically said basically the same stuff that she had told me.
Yeah.
Prior to me recording, Neely's like, I'm going to send you everything. And then she did send me documents and text messages. And It was all about the case that I was working on with her. And it didn't have anything to really do with her delusion, I believe.
Okay.
But there was a lot more that went on prior to this incident happening.
Got it.
Very, I'm disappointed in the protocol, if this is true. I mentioned to several people that she never got processed at the crime scene, so she really did not get processed for residue. I'm just disappointed in the protocol.
How'd you know about that? Did she call you from the jail?
Well, no, I tried calling her, but I had talked to her. She never actually told me specifically that she never got processed. She did tell Tony Pellegrino, which he called her at the hotel after the initial report.
Uh-huh.
The only thing that she told me was that when she entered back into the house, that she could just see gun residue everywhere, and it just too many red flags for me went up. The stories, I talk on a regular basis until recently.
Right. Have you talked to her since she got arrested?
Yes, I have talked to her several times. Just her stories keep changing about the day, and it bothers me. So I've kind of I've cut contact with her because I'm like, oh, whoa, I don't want, she's kind of I think she's a crazy sovereign person.
So she never actually told you that she shot him, correct?
No.
Okay. All right.
Because my instincts would have kicked in if I would have seen Neely with the gun like she says she did. I mean, my instincts would have went in. I would have went into that room, to try to stop something. I wouldn't have fled. But that's my instinct.
You weren't there, were you?
No, I was in Minnesota here. Her story does not make sense to me. It just doesn't.
So, but you said she talked to Kathy as well, right?
Neely, yes. Neely had.
Okay. Who's Kathy? Kathy who?
Kathy Watson.
Okay.
I will on this number that I called you on before, because you called back on the other number. But your cell phone number, does that receive text?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I will screenshot my call log, and then I'll screenshot it so you can see their phone numbers.
Okay.
And then, would you like the text messages as well that Neely sent me?
You know what? Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Absolutely.
And, is there any way you could send me those recordings? Do you think they're big enough or too big? Just give it a shot.
I will try it. I'll try something.
Okay. Well, the voicemails can be important. So at least make sure that you don't get rid of those.
Okay. So I won't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got several recorders.
Okay.
I don't get rid of nothing.
Oh, okay. So never mind. So the recording was not on your phone. It was on.
No, it's on a recorder, an actual recorder.
All right.
I also have my recording. I think I recorded the conversation with Kathy. Mm-hmm. I also recorded an hour-long some recording with Paul Knowles or Ron Knowles.
Okay. Did they know anything about this as well?
Yes, and I think that there's more to Mr. Knowles than what is perceived to be out there.
So his name is Paul?
He goes, well, on Facebook he has Paul Knowles, Ron Knowles, Ronnie Knowles, and Rodney Knowles.
And that's Knolls?
It's KNOWL or ELS or LES.
Okay. And Kathy Watson, you have her phone number? Are you going to send me that, right?
I will send it to you, absolutely.
Where is she at? Is she in Ocala or is she in Minnesota?
She is in, do I want to say either Tennessee or Kentucky or Georgia or somewhere around that area.
Okay. So where was Neely going?
I don't know. And that's where I put the timeline together, okay? So if she would have left and got to Georgia where she was found, that's a 2.5 hour drive. So that doesn't add up that 10 hours. And then I thought, I was listening back to the recording I had with Mr. Knowles, and actually it was text messages, and he said something about he had called and left a message for Robert. Mm-hmm. Robert's the husband, Neely's husband.
Okay.
And said something about Florida, a place in Florida, which is on the East Coast. I can't think of it offhand.
Okay.
But anyway, so if she would have went over that way and then up to where she was found, that there's still like 5 hours missing. So if she would have left and went back to base to Pensacola and then was found where she was, there's only a half hour missing.
Right.
I mean, we have been just. It's in my nature. It's what I do. I'm like, God dang it, I want to find out what's going on here.
Right. Let me ask you this. So as far as those recordings, would you be willing to turn those over?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so who would you be willing to turn those over to?
What's that?
Who would you be willing to turn those over to?
Who would you like me to turn them over to? I could turn them over to anyone.
Okay, well, that makes it easier then. I mean, we can just have, would you mind if we send somebody over from local law enforcement once we get it all figured out? Or would you rather be someone from the U.S. Marshals? I mean, I have more say.
I would rather deal with the marshals because,
we can do that.
Meeker County in Minnesota here is not very trustworthy.
Okay. Well, that's
if you even look it up in the database, they've been investigated by the FBI twice. I know them personally, like I do.
Right. Well, I can't speak for the locals up there. I've never dealt with them. I do have friends in the Marshal Service up there, and if you feel more comfortable doing it that way, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Absolutely, I'm definitely.
Contact him. I mean, I can't just call the police department and give them a name and they go find him. I mean, they need an address, they need so on and so forth.
Okay, the police department.
Right. Do you have an address for them to go to? I can't, like
North
I said.
High Street. It's North High Street.
Okay.
Let me get to my laptop.
I believe.
Okay.
But there was a lot more that went on prior to this incident happening.
Got it.
Very, I'm disappointed in the protocol, if this is true. I mentioned to several people that she never got processed at the crime scene, so she really did not get processed for residue. I'm just disappointed in the protocol.
How'd you know about that? Did she call you from the jail?
Well, no, I tried calling her, but I had talked to her. She never actually told me specifically that she never got processed. She did tell Tony Pellegrino, which he called her at the hotel after the initial report. The only thing that she told me was that when she entered back into the house, that she could just see gun residue everywhere, and it just too many. Red flags for me went up. The stories, I talk on a regular basis until recently.
Right. Have you talked to her since she got arrested?
Yes, I have talked to her several times. Just her stories keep changing about the day, and it bothers me. So I've kind of I've cut contact with her because I'm like, oh, whoa, I don't want. Yeah, she's kind of I think she's a crazy sovereign person.
So she never actually told you that she shot him, correct?
No.
Okay. All right.
Because my instincts would have kicked in if I would have seen Neely with the gun like she says she did. I mean, my instincts would have I would have went into that room, like to try to stop something. I wouldn't have fled. That's my instinct.
You weren't there, were you?
No, I was in Minnesota here. Her story does not make sense to me. It just doesn't.
So, but you said she talked to Kathy as well, right?
Neely, yes. Neely had.
Okay. Who's Kathy? Kathy who?
Kathy Watson.
Okay.
I will screen on this number that I called you on before, because you called back on the other number. But your cell phone number, does that receive text?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I will screenshot my call log, and then I'll screenshot it so you can see their phone numbers.
Okay.
And then, would you like the text messages as well that Neely sent me?
You know what? Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Absolutely.
And, is there any way you could send me those recordings? Do you think they're big enough or too big? Just give it a shot.
I will try it. I'll try something.
Okay. Well, the voicemails can be important. So at least make sure that you don't get rid of those.
Okay. So, I won't. I mean, I've got several recorders.
Okay.
I don't get rid of nothing.
Oh, okay. So never mind. So the recording was not on your phone. It was on.
No, it's on a recorder, an actual recorder.
All right.
I also have my recording. I think I recorded the conversation with Kathy. I also recorded an hour-long recording with Paul Knowles or Ron Knowles.
Okay. Did they know anything about this as well?
Yes, and I think that there's more to Mr. Knowles than what is perceived to be out there.
So his name is Paul?
He goes, on Facebook he has Paul Knowles, Ron Knowles, Ronnie Knowles, and Rodney Knowles.
And that's Knolls?
It's Knowl or ELS or LES.
Okay. And Kathy Watson, you have her phone number? Are you going to send me that, right?
I will send it to you, absolutely.
Where is she at? Is she in Ocala or is she in Minnesota?
She is in, do I want to say either Tennessee or Kentucky or Georgia or somewhere around that area.
Okay. So where was Neely going?
I don't know, and that's where I put the timeline together. Okay, so if she would have left and got to Georgia where she was found, that's a 2.5-hour drive. So that doesn't add up that 10 hours. And then I thought, I was listening back to the recording I had with Mr. Knowles, and actually it was text messages, and he said something about he had called and left a message for Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Robert's the husband, Neely's husband.
Okay.
And said something about Florida, a place in Florida, which is on the East Coast. I can't think of it offhand.
Okay.
But anyway, so if she would have went over that way and then up to where she was found, that there's still like 5 hours missing. So if she would have left and went back to base to Pensacola and then was found where she was, there's only a half hour missing.
Right.
I mean, we have been just. It's in my nature. It's what I do. I'm like, God dang it, I want to find out what's going on here.
Right. Let me ask you this. So as far as those recordings, would you be willing to turn those over?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so who would you be willing to turn those over to?
What's that?
Who would be willing to turn those over to?
Who would you like me to turn them over to? I could turn them over to anyone.
Okay, well, that makes it easier then. I mean, we can just have, would you mind if we send somebody over from local law enforcement once we get it all figured out? Or would you rather be someone from the U.S. Marshals? I mean, I have more say.
I would rather deal with the marshals because,
we can do that.
Meeker County in Minnesota here is not very trustworthy.
Okay. Well, that's
if you even look it up in the database, they've been investigated by the FBI twice. I know them personally, like I do.
Right. Well, I can't speak for the locals up there. I've never dealt with them. I do have friends in the Marshal Service up there, and if you feel more comfortable doing it that way, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Absolutely, I'm definitely turn them over.
What's your address?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that a house, an apartment?
It's a trailer.
Okay. But that's the number.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's easy enough. Now, before we do anything like that, I'll make sure to call you and let you know to make sure you're available or whatever. Make sure you have the recordings.
Oh, yes. Definitely give me a heads up. I've got all kinds of kids here on homeschooling, so.
Oh, absolutely. I know you're going to screenshot me Kathy's number. Can you just go ahead and give it to me as well?
Oh, absolutely. Hang on just a second here. Kathy Watson, Tennessee. Okay, I wrote Tennessee behind her name, so she is from Tennessee.
Okay.
It's 615.
Okay.
752.
Okay.
0078.
Okay, got it. And, okay. So, I want to make sure I got your information correctly. It's Jamie, Jamie.
It's Jaime.
Mm-hmm. Wait, one more time.
Jaime.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's the first time I've seen it spelled like that. And what? So, and your I'm sorry, Jamie. Your last name is Grubbs. Got that part.
Yep.
And what is your date of birth? Got it. Okay. Well, Jamie, okay, cool. I have your address here and I've got your phone number. So please hold on to those recordings. Like I said, I'm going to have to reach out to the office up there. And it's getting late in the day. I probably won't be able to reach anybody today. But if you'll hold on to those recordings, like I said, I'll call you before they come over. And we'll have someone from the Marshal Service come over. And obviously they'll identify themselves first so you'll know. And then you'll turn them over to them. If I have any more questions, would you mind if I just reached out to you again?
No, absolutely not.
All right. Well, Jamie, look, I really appreciate it, and I'll reach back out to you. Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day.
You as well.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, this is Detective Lionel, Marion County case number MCSO 20OFF 022999. It is November 30th at 4:21 p.m. and that was a three-way phone call between Deputy U.S. Marshal Zachary Self, myself, and Jamie Grubbs. And I am currently at Marion County Sheriff's Office Operations, and that concludes the interview.
Hello?
Hi, is this Kathy?
Yes,
Hey, Kathy, it's Detective Lido with Marion County Sheriff's Office in Ocala, Florida. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? I'm driving right now.
Oh, are you? Okay. I'm sorry to call you at an inopportune time. I'm just following up on this case involving Neely. I had spoke to some people that had indicated, and obviously it's important that I speak with everybody associated with that case. I had received some information that Neely might have called you after what happened and maybe given a recorded statement to you.
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So obviously, I'm not sure what she told you. Can you, tell me roughly what happened with what she told you happened?
Well, I've got it recorded. I don't want to say because, I don't like to, if I don't have it right there playing,
Yeah.
I don't want to say something that, that might not be right. So,
Okay.
I'd rather, when it's needed or whatever, I'll drive down and bring out whatever needs to be brought out. Because I didn't have it on a recorder. I had it on a pen that recorded.
Okay.
It needs to be downloaded.
Okay.
And I didn't want to put it on my computer.
Yeah, I understand.
But now I've got the recording. So
Okay.
And it's
Okay. Well, obviously,
I
so I don't want to have to inconvenience you at all. I wouldn't need you to drive anywhere. I could have local law enforcement there maybe reach out to you and get a copy of that recording, because that would be obviously important.
Well, now, is this for state or is this for her? Have you talked to her? And who has told you that I have this recording?
I actually work for the sheriff's office, so technically I'm.
Well, now I know she has some evidence in her laptop of some extortion going on.
Okay.
She's been extorted, and I do know her telling me that, and whatever pushed her over the edge of what she found out, because she was a researcher. Actually, she was supposed to start college in January.
Right.
Or the NSA, the intelligence type college.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So the email of that acceptance of her into that college, because of everything that she has gone through, and she's a victim of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I do know this, and they don't address an acceptance letter into that college, dear innocent, unless they know something. So this has been going on for a long time with her, and I'm still digging, but she's been set up on a lot of things that hadn't been right.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, she is actually a victim of what's going on, and all she wanted was her children to be able to raise them.
Yeah. I've done my
there's
research.
a lot of this extortion and human trafficking going on, and I'm very much aware of what's going on. Okay?
To your knowledge, involved in anything like that? Do you have any direct knowledge of that?
I don't have, per se, knowledge of what she's seen, but what she's seen evidently pushed her over this, because normally Neely's not like this.
Yeah.
And, with all, with everything that's going on, and she just wants to be a mom, and she's tired of being extorted. Whatever it was she's seen, either somebody put something in there for her to see, because she is a very good researcher, and she was going to be an investigator herself, actually, to go to college and do this college in January. And somebody didn't want her around. Now, the girl that was there, I do know she dabbles in witchcraft. I know another man in Michigan that she tried to put the hoodle-doodle, I guess you would say, on him,
Huh.
And she sends me a message Monday after the fact that, had passed away, sends me a message for me to keep my mouth shut. Now, I haven't talked to her in months, and we used to do Zoom meetings or stay on Zoom meetings after the E-Clause show or whatever.
You're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
She sends me a message on Monday. A text message says, keep your mouth shut. And I was, I've got a disabled aunt I take care of. In fact, I rescued her out of the nursing homes that overdosed her 2 or 3 times and about killed her.
Huh.
So, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Had some kind of devious plan about Neely, and I don't know whether there's any information, but y'all need to check on that stuff too.
Sure. Yeah. So just to kind of give you an idea of, my position is, I know that there's more to the story than just,
right.
I'm not trying to portray anybody a certain way.
Right.
Obviously, so the information, the recording, that Neely said would be very important both to her defense and to just the facts of the case. I really want to get to the bottom of everything that's been going on. So, I mean, obviously, getting a copy of that recording that you have is very important to getting the truth out. So, do
I take it to the U.S. Marshals or whatever? Because I have a little trust problem with
Would you like? I have people in the Marshals that I can reach out to.
The U.S. Marshals.
Yeah.
I mean,
I noticed that.
There's a kind of a antitrust situation going on with officials in what's going on in the nation as a whole. I mean,
yeah. Well, I've got friends in the U.S. Marshal's office that I trust, very, very carefully, and I think if you would be comfortable meeting with them,
that would be better.
Okay.
I think. I mean,
Kathy, I've got your phone number here is 615-752-0078.
0078.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
And I have your name is Kathy Watson.
Yes.
Okay. What is your date of birth, Miss Watson?
4/25/62. Can I ask you why you need my date of birth? I'm old enough.
For my report, I just have to document that we spoke on the phone and your phone number and date of birth. Okay. Would you like me to have? I will have the. Let me contact my an agent that works out of Tampa here in Florida. He's with the U.S. Marshal. He's a deputy U.S. Marshal. And I'll give him your number, okay? So you can be expecting his call. It should be an 813 area code?
No, it's let me think.
No, I'm saying the deputy U.S. Marshal should be an 813.
813. So you have those callers. I usually don't answer phones or calls.
Okay, well, I just want to make you aware that he will be calling, or someone will be calling you back. So just if they give you a call.
Well, now there's a U.S. Marshals in Paducah, Kentucky. I'm in Western Kentucky. Okay.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable giving me your address where you stay at?
No, I don't. I know there is some deeper things going on, and I don't want to get shot. I take care of a disabled aunt.
Yeah.
I rescued out of the nursing home. They were trying to kill her, and I've got it documented too.
Okay. Well, Ms. Watson, I don't want to put you in any position of jeopardy. Okay, so I'm not gonna.
I don't. That's why I said I don't want to be jeopardized, and I don't trust because I see what's going on and has gone on do a lot of things.
Okay.
I used to be a security officer. I used to catch shoplifters, and my boss would ask me, how do you do that? Because I watch body language and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty aware of what's going on.
Right.
But, I just feel comfortable. I don't, I don't know who you are on that. I know you.
Oh, I'm right with you. I don't trust people over the phone either, but
But I know how deep this is and how many people gets knocked off because they know something or have something that could expose some corruption, that's been going on. Or maybe these lobbyists and advocates are putting in for this business or whatever to do this to people, and get them to a certain point and then just drop them and they go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
and,
to your recollection, do you remember what rough? Can you summarize what Neely said when she called you that night? Do you remember what night it was that she called you?
Oh, God. I believe I'm thinking it was on a Sunday night or a Sunday. It was either Sunday morning or Sunday night. I ain't real sure.
Okay.
I know, she said the date and the time and all that, and that's what's on that recording. And I just the other day, charged that pen up to see, because I wasn't real sure if I actually got that recording, okay?
Okay.
But I listened because, it's a little gadget. It's like a spy pen, whatever.
Okay.
And you got to put this thing on it to be able to hear it with the earphones. Well, so I run it back, and I have got it.
Okay.
So I let her know on the phone. I said, the pen I have? And she said, yeah. I said, well, I wasn't too sure whether or not I got the recording, but I just want you to know that I listened to it, and I did get that recording.
Okay.
And she asked me because it was like what do you call it, confession or something like that.
Uh-huh.
She tried to call 911, and her phone was not working to call it. And that's what she was going to do that while she was still there.
Okay. Did she say what led up to it?
I'm trying to call 911, and then my phone ain't working. It's not letting me call. There's something going on here that's not letting me call this number.
Okay.
So
Did she say what happened? Like what was the chain of events? I mean, give me some perspective.
I really don't know, but I did ask her. I said, "We're and her daughter," and she said she's in the back room. She's been all high and everything, and couldn't hardly function. And her daughter's a cutter.
Okay.
Like she cuts herself. So let's see. You just have to hear. I know bits and pieces, but I'd rather somebody that, as far as a detective on the case as a whole, I'd rather go somewhere and meet somebody and let them.
Absolutely. So what state you said you were in Western Kentucky? I'll reach out to my guy at the marshal's office, and I'll let him know like whereabouts where you're at, and I'll give him your number, Kathy, and I'll have him give you a call, and he can meet you somewhere where you feel safe. And I definitely don't want to put you or your family in jeopardy.
I know this is a serious case.
Yes, ma'am.
And my friend too, and I was just shocked.
Yeah.
Neely, I know what kind of victim she's been throughout a whole lot of stuff. She might have a lot of mug shots and stuff, but I want to tell you something. She's got a good heart, and she's very intelligent as far as, researching and stuff like that. But she's been extorted.
No, I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's reasons why these things happen. I just want to make sure I accurately tell the story. So I will I'll give him your number, Miss Watson, and he'll give you a call. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, this is Detective Lotto with the Marion County Sheriff's Office, case number 200-22999. It is December 1st, 2020 at 3:22 p.m. And that was a recorded phone call with Kathy Watson, white female, date of birth 4/25/62, at the phone number 615-752-0078. And that concludes the recording.
That's that, folks. Now, I will be putting up other material in the following days having to do with different things and ways that uh, the sheriff's department has proceeded on the investigation to that time. Like I said before, there is going to be a recording that was made the 1st of May between Neely and her mother, from what I understand. And that's going to be a video recording. So when I get that and other material from the future um, discovery request, I will put them on here. Now, what is interesting about this is that they were chomping at the bit to wanted to admit that Neely shot Chris Hallett. I think that Jamie Grubbs came close to that in her statement to law enforcement, and I don't know as of yet if there has been subsequent interviews between her and the sheriff's office or the state attorney. Um, there is a mountain of discovery in this case, and I'm having to go through as best I can to pick out the most pertinent segments of the discovery. The obtaining of this evidence is not free. It's been horribly expensive to get this stuff, and so I have to parcel it out according to my budget. Um, so I do the best I can with this. And as I stated, I will be in Ocala for the trial. It's going to start the last week in November, and I'm having to turn my schedule upside down to get involved in that, or to air this thing. So I'm going to do that. And there is another matter, and I'm going to try and get this thing up. I ran into a problem with the editing process, and that's what got the recording all screwed up. So let me see if I can get this over into the thing and go from here. Okay, I think I have to add this because this is the second half of my presentation, and I want to get the proper material up. Because there has been a development today in a court hearing. And so I want to get that up here. Okay. All right. And let me see if this comes through. Yep, here we go. I'm still getting used to this new software. Adding material here is a little bit different than the old one that I was using. This is somewhat more difficult, but I think once I get used to it, it's not going to be so bad. Now, there was a hearing today at around 3 o'clock this afternoon up in the state of Ohio. As some of you folks may recall, Alexandra Goddard has a complaint against Timothy Charles Homeseth for his stalking of her and some incidents that have happened in regards to Tim Homeseth and his constant stalking of her. and the decision came down from the court. And basically, he was found in contempt of court in order to spend 30 days in Belmont Correctional Facility unless he removes content in 14 days. Now, this content is all the stuff that he has written about Alexandra Goddard on these various social media sites. They all have to go. If he does not, he will go to jail. If he does, then jail time will be held in abeyance for 3 years, and he is not tempted to post things about Goddard again. So that is uh, where the situation is right now. And so it's up to Mr. Holmseth to decide whether or not he wants to um, obey the court order or not. And so we have 14 days to wait out to see what Mr. Holmseth is or is not going to do. Now, it is my understanding that Randy Erickson has legal actions of her own that she has filed, which will probably be dismissed. There is also a likelihood that Tim Holmseth and her eventually will be labeled as vexatious litigants by the state of Ohio and the state of Tennessee, which means that you cannot file any actions unless you are represented in court by a bar certified attorney. There's no more of this pro se business and filing these frivolous lawsuits. Um, this is a huge waste of taxpayers' money. It costs thousands of dollars for the various courts to have to put up with this nonsense when it's filed with the court. Everybody gets paid. The judges get paid, the clerks get paid, everybody gets paid. And eventually, it's the taxpayers, both federally and locally, that pay for all this nonsense. And the courts are getting tired of it, and they are going to start cracking down. Now, Tim Holmseth already has this status in place. Because of his frivolous lawsuits in the state of Minnesota. He cannot file a lawsuit in the state of Minnesota without going through an attorney. And this is at the state and federal level, as well as any other level. He just, he can't play Mr. Perry Mason. So, he was given a injunction a while back to leave Goddard alone and to take the crap off the internet. And he has refused to do so. He's filed all these frivolous lawsuits against Goddard and others. I am on virtually every lawsuit and filing that has been put in the Tennessee court, in the Ohio court, everywhere. It's, he accuses me of being Whitey Bulger. Now he's started this nonsense with my old Operation Chaos, where he says that there are a bunch of FBI agents running around killing people. And this is sheer nonsense. And he has been claiming that there have been people trying to kill him for the past 14 years. And including the vice president of the United States, the former vice president. And, if people at the vice presidential level can't carry out a routine assassination, then they need to fire all the military involved in this alleged operation and retrain them. Because, you got the vice president of the United States accused of attempting to murder a guy that at the time was sleeping in his car. And we've had a barge in. Everybody say hi to Amber. So, no, he's not. Who wants to sacrifice their freedom for a guy that sits in a car? He claims that they're trying to shut him up, but this stuff's been out there for years. There is nothing that has not been disclosed. He's got all these lawsuits filed all over the country, and yet he thinks people are trying to shut him up. This stuff is out there. You can go on the various law databases and find this crap. He publishes it every day over on his blog. He's published even today. There's stuff over there. So this, and these people lap it up. I don't understand. His fans have to be the dumbest people on the planet because, they, this is not what I wanted. Yeah, I think he finally was able to get, do a lot of couch searching. Let's see. QAnon murder was planned by the FBI in a meeting in 2020 at FBI headquarters in Minnesota. Now, in this, he is accusing me of being involved in the murder of Chris Hallett. And I have published the gun that was used in the murder, the exact gun with the serial numbers, the whole 9 yards. The state knows who owns the gun, how she got in possession of it, and so forth. And there's all kinds of stuff out there. And so this claim by Homeseth is utter nonsense. The people that follow him know it's nonsense, but they continue with it anyway. And Task Force admitted to what it was on my live stream the other night. It's money. It's gots to get paid seems to be their motto. Tim Homeseth is alleged to have made well over $100,000 on donations alone. And of course, I don't think he's all right, I was sent a message. But it's all one big fairy tale. And why they involved me and other people in this is beyond my comprehension, because right now I think I've got 18 people on here. 2 or 3 of them are probably them again, because they come in and monitor everything. But what this is known, they're actually in, I'll get into this a little bit on the Faithful Project, but there are actually, you go on YouTube and you type in stealth camping, and this stuff will come up. There is actually RVers out there that will stay at Cracker Barrels. They'll sleep in Walmart parking lots. They have videos on how you go about parking in places like hotel parking lots, warehouses, airport parking lots, all of this. It's amazing that people go out of their way to stay someplace for free. And there's even software out there that you can buy that has a list of everywhere in the country you can, and even Canada, that you can park for free. It's called boondocking. Stealth camping and whatever. People tells you how to sleep in cars. how to go out and buy vans and delivery vans and trucks and turn them into stealth campers. It's funny, and this is directly involved as to what the Faithful Project is going to be, and I'll get into that shortly. And it's Tim Holmset that actually gave me the idea for this project. So he can take credit for something for once because he's the one that gave me the idea for this project. And I will get into details of it because it's taken me a month and a half to get my version of this itinerary for him. Well, Richard, it might be in his case because he is allegedly on government assistance of one kind or another. But, you have, I was a truck driver for 40 years, and you might say I was doing stealth camping or full timing, as some of the camping methods are talked about, because I had basically a motorhome that I was getting paid to drive. I drove a conventional semi, or in some cases, a cab over semi, and it had a bunk in it, and which means that I would drive for my shift. I would pull into a rest area or truck stop, go to sleep for a few hours, get up, continue on. In the newer trucks that I drove, I actually had a what they call a walk-in sleeper, nice big bunk. Had a microwave in the thing. I could bring a 12-volt TV set with me or a VCR and watch movies while on break or on layover. And it was a rolling house. And so what's happened is that there are a lot of RVers out there that are doing the same thing. It's funny, and I'm going to talk about it more on my other channel. But there are people that will go out and spend $100,000 on a camper, another $75,000 on a truck to pull it, and go out on the road and park in Cracker Barrels. They'll park in, they'll boondock out in the middle of nowhere. It's amazing the amount of money these people spend to go out and, I guess you could call it glamping. I mean, huge things. But I will talk about all this on my other channel. I'm not really going to go into it here. Yeah, Richard, back in the 70s, it was a lot of truck stops that people would go to. There were pull-offs and stuff, but it's nowadays you have scores of people that have gone out. They've sold all their houses and belongings. They go out and spend humongous amounts of money on motor homes, fifth wheel campers, pull behind campers, self-contained vans, and so forth, and go out on the road. And these things are not cheap. You can motorhomes. You can go up to $1 million or more. The fifth wheel campers, I'm seeing them $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. And of course, you gotta have the bigger the travel trailer, the bigger the vehicle you have to tow it. And so these people go out and they'll buy these $100,000 pickup trucks to pull these things around. So they're spending just as much money running around the country in these expensive land yachts as they would have if they had just stayed put and maybe fly someplace for a couple weeks. But these people decided they want to live full time on the road, which is fine. I know quite a few of them because I've been consulting with a number of these people about that. But yeah, it's nice to have that kind of money. It's they more like, what they do is, you got people that are middle income, upper middle income, that have been in professions for years. They take their retirement, which is, you take a 401 or Keogh plan, and then you go around, you sell your house. A lot of these people had houses that are worth maybe 50, 100, I'd say 250 to $500,000 or more, sell it for cash because they probably paid it off over the 30, 40 years they've had the mortgage. And they go out and they buy these humongous RVs. And if they don't finance them, they pay outright cash for them. And then they live off their savings, or else they have professional YouTube channels and they go out there and full time. And it's thousands of different ways you can do it. And what has been the indication here of what Tim Homestead is doing is he is stealth camping. He has a small SUV and he runs around the country, staying in rest stops, truck stops, McDonald's parking lots, you name it, he does it, or else he's couch surfing or a combination thereof. Because there is someone following him around, and she has stated that that is what he is doing. So that's, and there's a bunch of these people that are doing this in the sovereign citizen movement and so on. It's kind of like an underground railroad. But at the same time, what's happening here is all these donations are coming in to Homestead's causes, and there is no telling who is getting all this money. There is no accountability. They say Tim Homestead is getting it, but there's no proof of that. He files no income tax on that. There's no report anywhere that anyone is getting a detailed accounting of what he is spending all this money on, or if he is getting the money. He rarely goes on the internet. When he does, it's standing in front of a sign, and that's basically it. Or he stands in front of boats, and that's it. He doesn't live stream. He doesn't make videos. Does none of that. He has gotten away from that, and there's the logical reason for it is that he is more than likely being controlled. That someone is running the show. There's a producer, a director, a script writer, ghostwriter, all this stuff. There's probably a little staff that is running the Homestead machine. And there's an indication of this because his ability to do all this stuff has improved over the years. He started out with a rather sloppily made blog, and now it's almost professional. Very creative editing, and so forth. So you have to wonder, is Homestead locked away in a closet somewhere and is only brought out when he's needed and then put back in the closet again? Anything is possible, but protection from what? Nobody cares. Tim Homestead gets out there and says the FBI is running around with agents wanting to kill him. That's ridiculous. There's nothing, there's no worth to killing him. As a matter of fact, if someone were to kill Tim Homestead, it would make matters worse because he would become a martyr. I've discussed this in the past. Tim Homestead is actually worth more dead than alive because people can use him like they use JFK Jr. or Cappy or any of these other people, or even Chris Hallett. These people are dead and they're being made into heroes in the afterlife, which, if anyone was out to accomplish anything, it kind of blew up in their face. Neely Blanchard killed Chris Hallett, allegedly, got to say that, because she was betrayed. It's as simple as that. Everybody knows it. And this business of saying that this group of FBI agents, with me being one of the involved agents, uh, having to gone down to Chris Hallett's house with a gun that belonged to Bill McConnell and killing him is absolute nonsense. It's a fairy tale. It's defamation, slander, any definition you can put on it. But, there's people that are dumb enough over there to pay for these fairy tales. It's, these are the same people that believe JFK Jr.'s alive, that there's, even Cappy's alive. There was one time when the guy that used to write software, they thought he was still alive. And, they believe that there's a clone of Joe Biden running around and all this crap. And so these are the kind of people that Tim Holseth and his group is tapped into, because they're willing to shovel money to these people because they believe what they say. And, you have all these, there's Tim Holmseth is one of a multitude of these grifters out there that are doing this. Got this Tim guy that made this movie. Now it's coming out that there may be a problem with that group. There's an investigation being done into this being a phony deal where people are running around for this underground group and going to bars asking for prostitutes, and the so-called saving of children is alleged to have not taken place anymore. And this Tim guy is out of the group. He said he was forced out, according to one article out there. And whether it's because he discovered that they are exploiting him and it's a phony group, or that the group thought he was a fraud and threw him out. It's, you don't know, what is the truth here. So we don't know. But, sorry about that. It's just the same thing every day. These grifters out there are making fools of their followers. They're sucking in the money, and nobody seems to care. I know I have tried to put a dent in this for years, and nobody cares. So I said, screw it. I'm going to report on it, but I don't have any illusions that these people are ever going to wake up. They are going to keep doing this forever. And, when one key subject goes away, there'll be another subject. Or if Tim Holmseth is finally brought to justice, somebody else will come along to pick up the reins and continue the fairy tales. It's just the way it is. Conspiracy theories and nonsense like this has been going on for centuries. It's nothing new. Yeah, that's pretty well it. I mean, it's, he wants $40,000 for a car. He wants tens of $1,000s to run around the country. He wants another batch of money to be able to send things to Donald Trump, which they don't give a shit, and all this other stuff. He has at least a dozen of these site sets up, and he's running, somebody's making a hell of a lot of money off of this. Oh, that's quite true. Because in the case Timothy Holmseth, he was He was adopted, and it's the story of his adoption is rather muddy, and he even admitted in his book that he was caught setting fires when he was young. He got so drunk and abusing substances that he nearly died. Um, he somehow got himself to a nut ward where he used to live and woke up on the floor um, with an attendant who from what I understand, was trying to resuscitate him or something because he nearly died on the floor of this nut ward. And so he admits to it. His criminal record proves it. He's got arrests for DUI and other situations. He's was charged with trespassing, charged with um, grand theft of something worth over $1,000, and convicted of both of those. So he's a convicted felon, and it's so he has a history. Uh, and virtually every single solitary one of these individuals that are in the ring of influence, if you want to call it that, have problems in their background. And Neely Blanchard was one of them. Chris Hallett was one of them. He was in a fierce battle with the Ohio courts over child support. And that's what all the paperwork is about that Tim Holmseth likes to brag about. It was his child support battle with the Ohio courts and subsequently with Florida, since he was a resident here. Florida enforces child support scofflaws. And so he ran into problems with the courts. Yeah, I agree. That's exactly it. Because they use their experiences and say the court's not fair, it's a fraud, it's admiralty law, and all this other crap. Tim Holmseth had a problem with the courts up in Minnesota because his wife, or not wife, but the mother of his son, filed a complaint with the court because his daughter was dressing the son up like a girl, and this created behavior problems for the son. And Tim Holmseth was alleged to be so obsessed with Haley Cummins that he ignored his son, and this caused mental problems for his son. And this was brought out in the court proceedings. So Tim has a beef with the court. Randy is the same way. She has her own issues with the courts. And virtually every one of these people that got involved have an issue with the courts. Neely Blanchard had a problem with the courts, and this is what led to the murder of Chris Hallett. And all these other people, every single solitary one of these people have a problem with the court system, with law enforcement, and so forth. You heard it tonight. Both Kathy Watson and Jamie Grubbs expressed that they have a distrust of the system, that they want to go to a trusted source to give out all this information on the Neely Blanchard situation. Now, what I find curious is Jamie Grubbs did not mention in the interview that she had any connection at all with the United States Marshal Service. And it's my understanding that she has been running around telling people that she was either part of the U.S. Marshal Service, was taking educational courses to be a U.S. Marshal. She has, she had the U.S. Marshals. She was representing herself as the United States Marshal. And so you have to wonder about these people. Now, yeah, I wear the hat and I wear the shirt. That's because Tim Holmseth accuses me of being part of the government, so I'm just playing along. I ordered this crap off of YouTube, or I mean, off of eBay, and some of it came off of Amazon. You can go on Amazon or eBay. You can order the hat. You can order the shirt. You can order I've got the CIA. You can order this thing. This thing came off eBay. I mean, you can order these things from eBay. But if you step out the door and you run around saying you're a U.S. Marshal or FBI, then you're in trouble. Oh yeah, I'm all of it. I'm every letter of the alphabet: FBI, CIA, NSA, State Department, and tonight I'm a U.S. Marshal. But Tim Homeseth claims all this. He's the one that started all this. I never wore U.S. Marshal T-shirts or hats or FBI stuff. 2 years ago, Tim Homeseth went up on his social media and says, I'm an FBI agent. And he did it today. This Operation Chaos, he says, is an operation to get him assassinated. And that's not what it was. Everybody that was around back in 2020 knows what Operation Chaos was. And then the series is up on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. But anybody that looks at these people cross-eyed are automatically the deep state, government agents, assassins, you name it, that's it. And that's on top of being accused of being a pedophile, a child trafficker, child murderer, all of it. I've been accused of having something to do with the murder of the 2 teenagers in Delphi, Indiana, even though there's more than enough proof that Richard Allen did it. He has even said on record to his wife that he murdered the girls. So that's going to be an interesting one to follow. And, and Operation Chaos accomplished its mission. I named it that in order to create confusion among Tim and his followers. And it worked. It worked better than I had ever expected. And it just shows you how susceptible these people are to bull crap. And now he's made this elaborate hoax out of it, which is fine. Because he's digging himself a bigger hole, because eventually people are going to understand that he is a big fraud, that he is a pathological liar, that none of it's true, and these people have been taken for fools. And when that realization hits, I would not want to be Homeseth. Sorry about that. I've got a tickly throat. Oh, God. But, in the case of Tim Homeseth, it's one big fraud. And these people are making money hand over fist with that fraud. And the individual by the name of Task Force that came in here admitted it. She says, "Gots to get paid. Gots to get paid." That's what it's all about. The money, 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 money. We've got donate, Operation Live to Tell. Let me see what we're doing. He's got he started this back this is one of the earliest times we had this PWS builder show up. I like to check from time to time. Okay, according to the eBag site, Tim Homeseth has $12,278 towards his $40,000 car. And the latest one is alleged to be from an anonymous donor of $50 11 days ago. And let's go down to this other one. And according to this Operation Live to Tell, Tim Homeseth has made $23,237. So he could combine the two charities that he's got and buy his car. And so 13 hours ago, somebody gave him 13 hours ago, he got $10. 7 days ago, he got $100. And another 7 days ago, he got $100. So all these idiotic, stupid people pledged this money to him. Now, how many people actually send the money? Hard to say, because you can pledge the money and it gets published, but unless you take out your credit card or PayPal and actually pay it, there's no money exchange. So it's hard to tell if any of that's true. But if it is true, in those two e-bag sites alone, this idiot's knocked down close to 50 grand. And that's not counting the other half dozen he's got. He's got donation sites all over the place. Plus, he's got a thing up where you can buy t-shirts and coffee mugs. And, you know, these people lap it up. This is why David Strait is so successful. You know, David Strait is alleged to have been the one that got Tim Homeseth started on all this. You know, he was the man that was between Tim Homeseth and Donald Trump, according to many sources. And now he's turned around, stabbed David Strait in the back. David Strait's been arrested, bailed out, and is allegedly on the run, all because of Randy Erickson and Tim Homeseth. It's biting the hand that feeds you. And so David Strait is now running around so far. Well, yeah, they do. See, in the retail business, be it cars or any other thing, there's what you call the 10% rule. And that is if you advertise to 50,000 people, 10% of them are going to express an interest in your product. And they're either going to buy it or donate to it or whatever. And so he, you know, this is his level right now collectively is around 50,000. So if 5,000 people send him $1 a month, that's $5,000. And he's getting more than that. If he gets $10 per donor, then we're looking at $50,000 a month. You know, that's where this gets into. So they, you know, he's making a minimum of $10,000 a month, which is $100,000 a year, $120,000 a year. And oh, Levi, you're late as usual. I got into Alexandra's case. I got into the 2 phone interviews, so you'll have to listen to the recording. And right now, we're just talking about Timmy and his grifting. So welcome, Levi. Well, he does both that, and then he turns around and claims you're, you know, in my case, I am Whitey Bulger, the FBI covered up Whitey Bulger's death. I don't know who the poor slob is that got his head crushed in by a padlock and a sock. But this is Timmy's contention. Timmy claims that I killed 2 teenagers in Delphi, Indiana, or at least was a part of it. Tim Holmseth claims that I went to Field McConnell's house, stole a gun, somehow got it through Homeland Security back here to Orlando, went up to Ocala, and murdered Chris Hallett, and now everything's pinned on poor Neely Blanchard. It's the same thing, Levi. And today, even today on there, he is saying, I am part of this FBI group that's running around assassinating people. It's the same thing. He claims that I went to Minnesota, met with the FBI, went to Phil McConnell's house, stole his gun, came to Florida, and killed Chris Hallett. And that's despite of a huge amount of evidence that the Marion County Sheriff's Office has against Neely. She even confessed to it. I do, I guess, according to Timmy. And, he... All right, wait a minute. I just screwed up here. No, he cannot. He's, believe it or not, he's on a no-fly list. He can't. He has not been on an airplane. The problem with going on an aircraft is that you would be recorded one way or another, and they would be able to track you. So, well, it's like, he doesn't come up with how I'm doing all this stuff, apparently. Now, there is such a thing as an airplane, but I don't, I'm in Florida right now, and in my 30-year-old mobile home, this thing in the background is a prop, basically supplied by the software, the people that own this software. I've had, in the old software, I had my on assignment slide that I have up there, but I'm having a little bit of a problem with the software, so I'm using the stuff that they supply for now until I get the problem worked out. It's brand new software, and I'm on a learning curve with it. And that's one of the reasons I screwed up on the broadcast tonight, is because if you do certain things in the middle of your broadcast, you screw it up, and that's what I did. Well, better late than ever. And, as usual, this show gets recorded, so you can go back and you can watch it. And, well, actually listen to it, because the interviews were done over the phone, so there's no imagery. I just slapped the slide up there, so, you didn't have this black spot to look at. Yeah. Notifications on this phone keep going off. Okay, let's see. It's probably from this other one. Doo-doo-doo. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, there. And the beat wrong. Beat goes on. Oops. All right. There's surprisingly nothing. Which, maybe they woke up for once. Well, yeah, I understand that. These people don't know reality. They don't know how things work. Um, and that's one of the reasons that this bunch is getting away with this stuff is because they can brag to their cult that they have these connections, these powers, and they're doing all these things. And through slick video editing, these people are sucked into all this. And on the surface, anyone looking at this realizes that none of their accusations make any sense. Nothing they say could possibly be true. But these people want to believe this stuff. And because they want to believe this stuff, um, Holmseth and his crowd gets away with it. Now, I'm going to have to reiterate, I don't think Holmseth is running the show. I think he's being used as a prop. He's a puppet. Uh, there's somebody running this in the background. There may be 2, 3, or 4 people that are coordinating the production of this play, if you want to call it that. And Tim Holmseth is a stringer that is brought in as a prop to walk in front of his car over to his sign, hold up his little book, get back in the car, and drive away. That's all he does. He'll stand in front of a building, he'll stand in front of a sign or a boat, and that's it. Doesn't say one single word to anybody. And what he does then is you see all this stuff on Truth Social, on Telegram, and a couple other websites, but you don't know if it's Holmseth writing all this stuff. There's no way to confirm that. You can share somebody could have created that account in Tim Holmseth's name and be writing for him. So, that's just the way it is. Now, if it's actually Tim Holmseth writing this stuff, fine, but I have my doubts. And it really doesn't matter because it's all lies. It's all fake. There are no fish people, lizard people, goat people, or whatever. It's all Holmeseth's delusional imagination. And those are the people around him. He was taken off the air for a reason. He was told, stay the hell off live streaming. Don't live stream. Don't make videos. If you make videos, don't say a damn word. Stand in front of a sign. Stand in front of a boat. Stand in front of a building. But shut the hell up. There's something about his camera presence that bothered these people. And so they will not allow him on camera making any kind of statement, any kind of speech at all. It's all done in the dark. Because if it was really Tim Holmseth, he could get in front of a video camera. Doesn't even have to use a smartphone. He could use a video camera, make a video, give it to somebody, They get a VPN and they publish it. Easy pleasy. There's no need for this weird stuff. Except for there's people out there that don't understand how technology works and believe that Tim Holmes's claim that he has to stay off the internet, cannot make videos, cannot do live streaming in front of a McDonald's because he'll get caught, and a lot. And he's like the new Q. Because he can sit there and say all these things, and there's a huge number of people over on this obscure website that believe him. Because they want to believe it. They're there for that reason. They signed up to these wacko websites in order to feed their strange philosophies and beliefs. And because of that, HomeSeth succeeds. And the controllers of HomeSeth succeeds. And it's going to continue forever. Now, I've stated in the past that I don't care. HomeSeth can badger Joe Biden to the ends of the earth. He can badger Hunter Biden to the ends of the earth, make all these claims to the ends of the earth, but leave me out of it. Pure and simple. Take down all the BS about me, Levi, Alex, Kim, and others, and just go after the big shots. You can make thousands of dollars doing that. You wouldn't have people going to court and getting restraining orders if you would simply leave ordinary people alone. But he's not capable of doing that. And because of that, he gets my attention. Now, I've only got a small YouTube channel here, 22 people. I don't do anything on my Twitter, and I don't do anything on my Facebook. And I have other channels that are just sitting there collecting dust. So I don't know why I occupy his mind and the mind of those fools over on Telegram. I don't understand it. But as long as this stuff about me is up there, I'm going to continue to fight. I believe so, because it has been reported that Randy Erickson has filed another action on behalf of Tim Holmeseth, and it's within the last week or so. So this crap keeps going on and on and on. It's just never-ending BS with these people. They're not accomplishing anything, except eventually they're going to get themselves in legal hot water. And because the courts are getting sick of it, and people who are being victimized are getting sick of it. So eventually, it's going to be time to pay the piper, and it's fast in coming. And so we just stay tuned and see what happens. Now, I will be putting stuff up tomorrow night, and I'm not sure exactly in what order I'm going to put this stuff. I was going to put up what would be probably 4 or 5 telephone calls that were made by the Marion County Sheriff's Department to different individuals. And these are what I would classify as procedural phone calls or permissions phone calls, where they ask people for permission for various things. And so it will be of that nature that I will put this stuff on. It's going to involve a number of people that we've already heard from before. I also have images of the crime scene. And I'm going to warn everybody up front that these are not pleasant pictures. This is the place where Chris Hallett died. And if you've ever watched true crime shows, you know what a crime scene looks like, especially when a murder's involved. And it's not a pretty sight. But it's evidence, and it's part of the case. This has been done before on other platforms, and so that will be coming. That's quite true. The mother actually thought that Shannon was responsible for the death of Chris Hallett, just like Tim Holmseth was saying. And I think it's because she was not fully aware of the situation with Neely Blanchard. Now, remember that this interview happened immediately after the murder of Chris Hallett. The first interview with a female detective happened 4 hours after Chris Hallett was murdered, and the second one was the next morning when they came to do the warrant. And I think what the reason for that is because she didn't know anything about Neely. She knew the background of Shannon, didn't like Shannon, didn't like the fact that she was homeless. Maybe she figured she was taking advantage of Chris or whatever, or was a bad influence. And she got into the background that she knew about Shannon as far as the dispute and everything else that was going on with her family. And so that's what would be going on. Levi, you know Nancy better than I do, but it's in my opinion that she would probably look at Neely Blanchard the same way she looked at Casey Anthony or with Melinda Duckett. These women were batshit crazy. And, you know, that's the kind of person that Nancy Grace likes to take apart. I am quite certain that Nancy Grace would have a lot to say about Neely Blanchard. I would be surprised I would not be surprised actually, if Nancy somehow on whatever media she's on now gets interested in this case when it goes to trial. And I agree, Levi, she is quite entertaining. You know, I have issues with her, but you can't knock success. She's very successful at what she does. And being a former prosecutor, she has the training and the background to give a reasonable opinion of these various crimes. And that's what made her as popular as she was. Because she knows her shit, to be blunt about it. So, you know, I don't know if Nancy Grace is going to cover this. I don't know if Law and Crime is going to get involved or any of these other people. I haven't gotten any information so far on any of them. I'm going to be up there. Law and Crime is a pay-per-view, so I don't charge for anything I do. I'm not going to be able to live stream out of the courtroom itself. I don't know if any of the local affiliates are going to have streaming from the courtroom during this thing. We'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be at the end of November that we're going to start this trial, unless they do something again. I agree. It's always been my contention that someone controlled Neely, put stuff in her head, got her to thinking that she was being deceived. She did her own research, found out that she was deceived, and Chris Hallett paid the price. I was kicked off of one of them. I think I monitor one of them, and I monitor the Task Force for Truth channels. Um, and they know it. They make comments about it. But one of the channels that I would comment on, I got booted off because they're afraid of me. And that's just the way it goes. But they just, it's the same thing all the time. And let's see, there was another one. Oh, I would love to see that. Yeah, Timothy does not have the balls to go within 1,000 miles of Nancy Grace. Um, and as far as Randy Erickson, I think Nancy would bury her in the ground in 10 seconds. That would be the set of interviews of the years to watch Nancy Grace put it to either of these two idiots. Um, I think they meet over on Rumble or one of these other right wing things because there's an individual who posts to me every once in a while who has access uh, to their so-called secret uh, locations. There's several of them, in fact, and they come in and they make comments about, okay, we got one. They said on Discord you are broadcasting in underwear again. Okay. Well, I got the Zoom on, so I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. But I'm wearing blue jeans. Nope, can't. Well, shit. Let me do this. Yeah, you got to give these people proof of their lies. It just. All right, there you go. Blue jeans. This is a belt. These are blue jeans, not underwear. So, you people over in Discord, drink your go-go juice or take your heroin or whatever you're doing. I never broadcast in my underwear. It was pajama bottoms. But that to answer your question, Levi, that's where they're supposedly at, is over on Discord. There is also a woman in their MRIC chat that said she wants to raise money to see if she can pay you to broadcast about what she wants you to broadcast about. And this is probably the one that pays me, that would pay me to um, defend Tim Holmseth and so on and so forth. This is old news. She's done this in the past, and I told her and I gave her an emphatic no, that I will not do that. Um, and I don't. If this person wants to defend Homestead, why doesn't she start her own channel? She could go on there and not even show herself behind an anonymous name. Sorry, people, and knock herself wow. But it's funny. I actually went on YouTube, and there are videos on YouTube of people in their underwear. There's a guy that in one of these videos where the guy is sleeping in the parking lot of a Walmart in his camper van doing one of these stealth camping things, and after he has his dinner, he takes off his pants, he's got underwear on, and goes to bed. And nobody flagged that channel, and there's hundreds of them like it. I mean, people do all sorts of weird things on the internet. This is the way it is, and what I did is I had a pair of pajama bottoms, and I wore them because they're comfortable. And these nitwits say, "Oh, Mert's in his underwear. We're going to complain to oh, Kathy Lake is at it again, according to this person. Um, but, you know, this is the thing. This underwear business that's been going on for years is idiotic. Kathy Lake, if this is true, is more concerned about people running around in their underwear than she is in children that are the victims of pedophiles, children that are being murdered, children that are being trafficked, children that are being abused. She doesn't care. All she cares about is people walking around in their underwear. Now, I do not own YouTube. I do not have any administrative control over YouTube. So if some guy goes on YouTube and parades around in his underwear, I can't do anything about it. Now, who was it? There was a movie, uh, very famous actor, the one that flies around in the jet airplane, and he was doing a dance and streaking across the doorway in his underwear. He had a pair of white briefs on, tidy whities. I don't see anybody complaining about that. And have you ever watched the soap operas on TV? I mean, people walking around, women walking around in their underwear, having sex on daytime TV. Nobody complains about that. But if I put on a pair of pajama bottoms in a room with 10 people in it, these people will go nuts. And, they talk about Levi in his underwear. I mean, what is it with these people? Have they got nothing else better to do than talk about people's underwear? I don't get these people. I don't support or not support people wearing their underwear on social media. I don't care. I don't watch people running around in their underwear. I watch stuff based on technology, stuff based on true crime. I'm watching a series on Hulu right now about Homeland Security and border crossings and people smuggling things into this country, be it people, drugs. It's amazing. It's an amazing show where you learn how hard people in Homeland Security and Homeland Security investigations are working to keep this country safe. Yeah, Tom Cruise. And he's sitting there doing his thing across the audience in nothing but his underwear. And I don't see Kathy Lake or any of these other people complaining about it. That scene is on YouTube. And there is all sorts of things where both men and women are wearing nothing but their underwear. There's even stuff worse than that. But, you know, this shows you where these people's priorities are at. They are more concerned at what I am doing or wearing on this show than they are about the criminals out there molesting children, abusing children, and doing all these things with children. They don't care. And I don't care what they say. Their words prove it. These messages I get on this phone prove it. When you got this sort of thing on these channels where they say Mert this, Mert that, Levi this, Levi that, Alex this, Alex that, it is documented proof that these people do not give a shit about children. Not one bit. All they care about is making money off of gullible fools on the internet. And what the hell happened here? My curtain went ballistic. Yeah. Oh well. I'll transition this. I don't know what happened. Maybe I won't either. All right. Well, don't know what happened there. We got some reason I got I guess that's the backdrop. Oh, you ought to see that. That show's fascinating because they had one tonight. They found kilos and kilos of meth and so on in the gas tank of a pickup truck, and they ripped that thing to pieces to get that stuff out of there. And they did the same thing. This guy came through the border crossing in Canada, of all places, and they took his car apart, and the drugs were inside the door panels of the car, and and they talked about human carriers where these people swallowed 40 bags of drugs and condoms, uh, and then they take these people to the hospital and X-ray them, and then they stand there and watch them until they pass the stuff out. It's amazing what people go through to break the law, and it's also amazing what laws are out there that people break, either knowingly or not knowingly. There's vegetables and stuff that can't come into this country, and until you watch this show, you would never understand that that's what they do. And on Hulu, I get the Disney Channel, and on the Disney Channel, they have this show on about airports, and it's not like they've been doing the Miami airport, JFK, uh, the Buffalo border crossing from Canada into the United States, and vice versa. Um, they're all over California with the stuff they do out there. They've done Texas border crossing. I mean, it's really, really interesting show. And that's what I'll be doing when I log off here. I'll be going watching more. But they hide stuff in everything. They hide them in children's toys. They hide them in shampoo bottles. Uh, they had one where uh, they had this humongous machine, and you wouldn't think that there'd be drugs in there, but they took this thing apart, and it was full of drugs. And they have their format is they make the seizure, find the hidden drugs, weigh it, and they put it up on TV. And this stuff's like worth $100,000, $20,000. I think the record is $5 million, and the haul that was $5 million was packed inside of boxes of onions. That was weird. Oh, it's a constant race. Um, it's just for they that's the one thing you learn about watching these shows is when Homeland Security beats them at one game, they turn around and fight them another way. Um, you know, they had they had one, and they had this tractor trailer. They emptied the tractor trailer. They were still getting detections of it, and this was a reefer. And I don't know how many of you have ever seen the inside of a semi reefer, but it's kind of hard to describe it. But what they had done is they had taken the floor up in the reefer, and they had put the drugs the length of a 50-foot trailer in the grooves of the floor, and then put it back down and welded it so you didn't know the drugs were in there. So when they tore the truck apart, they brought out like $500,000 worth of drugs that were inside the semi. It's weird. And these people are really sneaky. But that's what it is. If someone is determined to commit a crime, they're going to commit the crime, and if they get caught, they're going to do the time. I don't know what the percentage is of the drugs that they're catching, but it's probably less than 20%. And another thing that I do is I watch the videos of Sheriff Grady Judd down here in Lakeland, Florida, which is a city about an hour's drive from my house. And he's probably the most entertaining sheriff I've ever seen that does this stuff. He'll have press conferences about pedophiles being caught in these things, about drug seizures, and it's just his style. And he has a tagline. Did you hear me? Because he'll say this. Can you hear me? You've got to watch his stuff on YouTube. This guy is a riot. But at the same time, he is showing that there are people in law enforcement that do that. I suppose I probably would have gone down that career path, but there's one problem. I don't like getting shot at. And that's the thing. You get into law enforcement, you go out, and you might get shot. And I don't feel like getting shot. Uh, the funny thing is, my father was a corrections officer in the state of New York after he got out of the Army. For about 30 years, he was a corrections officer at the Elmira Reformatory. And this is a maximum security prison for offenders from the state of New York. Most of them come out of the city. And, it's a rough business. The stories he used to tell me about how life is in the reformatory, it kind of scared me straight. Because I went on a tour of the reformatory when I was in high school, and it scared the living crap out of me. But I took a different career path, so I did not become a corrections officer. And, but that's one of those things. I come from a military family. I'm the only one in my family that didn't go in the military. My two brothers were in the military. My sister was a Navy nurse, so I guess she would have been in the military. And I have nephews that are in the military. And my one niece is in the State Department, and I can't remember what the other one does, but I think she's in the civilian. Yeah, in those days, I suppose it was shotgun. Now I have to worry about getting shot with these horrific weapons. Um, AK-47s and all this other crap that's out there. It's extremely dangerous to be in law enforcement in this country, and there's no easy solution to fixing the problem. The main thing that's got to be done is you got to get rid of these freaking drugs, because that's the drugs are the problem, and all this other stuff that's going on. And this is why it's hard for law enforcement to do anything with children, is because there's so much of this other stuff going on. But Grady Judd and law enforcement officials like him are doing just that. And in the future, as soon as I check with the Polk County Sheriff on copyright issues, I may be airing some of Grady Judd's material, and I may be going to some of its press conferences if I can get advance notices. And I'll either record the press conference or I will stream them live, because he has a message worth getting out there. And it's, if you watch Grady Judd and what he reports on, it's astounding the depravity that people engage in when going after children. And it's anyone that has a child, you have to get into their business, get on these gaming platforms and social media platforms that the kids hang out and watch what they're doing, because these perverts will groom these kids for weeks and months and get them to do things that are going to damage them for the rest of their lives. They get them to send them pornographic materials. They eventually want to meet and have sex or whatever is going to happen to these children. And parents really need to pay attention to what's going on. Now, some of the stuff that Grady Judd has talked about on his thing is he does the Chris Hansen type of thing. The detectives will go on these shows or on these various websites, pretend to be a 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old child and lure the predator to either come to Polk County or at least transmit illicit material over the internet with the intent to have sex with that child at some point or else get engaged in sextortion. And these people come down in the hundreds. There has been broadcasts on YouTube where he has had over 100 of these perverts show up, and they come from all different backgrounds. They got Disney employees, which he makes a big deal about. There's been teachers, there's been politicians, there's even been cops caught up in these things. I mean, you name it, they're part of it. There's no such thing as a stereotypical pervert. It could be a 21-year-old, it could be a 90-year-old. If these people are interested in sexual deviancy, it doesn't matter how old they are, what color they are, what occupation they are, any of it. They're going to come down and get involved in this stuff, and people like Grady Judd are going to put their ass in jail. And what's disappointing is when you find out how short the incarceration is. There's repeat offenders. People go down here, do this stuff, go to jail, get out of jail, and do the same thing all over again. It's the same thing if you people have watched Chris Hansen when he used to do the To Catch a Predator. They come back. These people have no control over themselves. They'll go on a show, they'll be arrested. 2 months later, they're back. I guess you got to chemically castrate these people or something to get them to knock off doing this crap. It's weird. Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. Law and Crime had a video on. I stumbled across a lot of things on YouTube. And they did what had to be well over an hour-long video of body cams of officers. I think it was either Oklahoma or someplace up there. This kid had a bulletproof vest, had sheriff written on it, and all the stuff, and it went through the hour. This kid trying to say that he worked for a sheriff in the corrections department, and he was traveling. And they asked him, "Why are you wearing your bulletproof vest? And you're not on duty. You're not commissioned to be a sheriff off duty." And he said, "Well, I got people that are after me." And and it was a changing story. It changed and changed and changed and changed and changed. And it got up to close to the end of the video. And the cops were about ready to let the kid go. And these guys pulled up in a car and said this yo-yo had been sitting in a neighbor's driveway, and I was staring at him when I went by. And a short time after that, he's tailgating me down the road, flashing his lights. I pulled into the Sonic, and this kid pulls in behind me and wants to know why I'm staring at him, and actually identified himself as a sheriff. And then he said he had to go on a call, and he went away. And the next thing you know, these two guys saw this kid make a U-turn on the interstate and flash the lights after somebody else going the other way. And so, because of this testimony of these two guys, they arrested the kid. And it was the funniest video I've ever seen, um, of one of these impersonation things. This kid was so stupid, and he just talked himself into an arrest. Why people go around, wear Kevlar vests and sheriff's badges and all this stuff, and actually try to pull people over. It, you know, there's a bunch of crazy people in here. Yeah, you're probably right. Once somebody is dead set on this kind of activity, there is absolutely no stopping them. It's going to be the treadmill over and over and over again, where these people are just going to do the revolving door thing, coming in jail, out of jail. They're going to get involved with, uh, child porn, because if they can't actually go out and have sex with a child, they're going to watch the pornography, which is usually what starts this stuff. Because Grady Judd said that they start out watching the pictures, watching the videos, and they just get so turned on that they actually have to go out and molest a child. And he said that there have been time and time again where these idiots confess to it. Now, does Homeseth talk about Grady Judd? No. Does Homeseth talk about all this stuff? No. He talks about being in the PPTF and doing all this fakery stuff. He doesn't give a damn about what Grady Judd is doing or anybody else. He only cares to take credit for what he says he's doing, and he's doing absolutely nothing. I just do not understand people that believe the kind of crap that Tim Holmes is putting out there. I just don't understand these people. I think they must have fallen off a 20-story building and hit their head, because they're just absolutely positively crazy. Well, that's weird. They got a thing on here about someone they're alleging is Levi's great grandfather. Huh. Well, these people are obsessed with anything named Page. Weird. But by all accounts, it was honorable past. I don't know. But this is the thing. What does all this stuff have to do with child trafficking, pedophilia, and so forth? It has nothing to do with it. It's just people being nosy and, you know, but I don't have access to their Discord, so I can't see any of the stuff that's being sent to me by someone who apparently has access to that area. There are several people who have access to that area, and every once in a while, I get stuff from them. So they are on Discord having fun over there. But, boy, I went on longer than I intended to tonight. I'm going to do one last rotation here. All right. All right. I'll take one look at Marion County to see if anything's going on in Discovery up there. Okay. Go through the same old routine again. I'm going to be curious what happens with Goddard's case. If Homeseth is going to skip out of this one, which would be to his extreme detriment, but um, okay, nothing has changed in there, but jury selection is scheduled for the November 13th, 2023. And so that's when things are going to start up. As November 13th is the day to mark your calendars as to when things start in Ocala. Oh, well, you won that bet. They monitor everything that goes on this channel. They're obsessed with me. And the person that keeps sending me messages is watching this show. Oh, here we go. Kathy Lake is posting Calvin Klein underwear. And she's going to send it to Nancy Grace. Well, I'm sure Nancy Grace loves seeing people in their underwear. So, gotta love Kathy Lake. I mean, she must be in the cooking sherry again. She's got to put pictures out there of people wearing Calvin Klein briefs. Amazing. And it's just further proof that Kathy Lake does not give a shit about missing, abused, or murdered children. She is more interested in people wearing their underwear than she is in the abuse of children. So now we know Kathy Lake's alleged priorities. And it's the same with all of them. No cowboy hat. Is that another one of these Tom Cruise things? I don't know. Maybe Tom Cruise wore Calvin Klein underwear in that movie. But, you know, but if it is true, what was just sent to me about Casey Lake, that's another one of those people over there that don't have their head screwed on straight. Um, she has to go around making a fool out of herself and hiding on a secret database on Discord. What are you going to do? So, well, I'll tell you what, I've sat here and bent everybody's ears for almost 3 hours. Yeah, I'm surprised Task Force didn't come in tonight. I didn't ban the fool. Maybe she's a little nervous about what happened to Tim Homeseth. I mean, he's in deep crap. Because what's going to happen with him is that he is either going to have to straighten his ass up or he's going to jail again. He's been in jail before. So he's just gonna wind up in jail again. And he'll say, "Oh, I got sent to jail. I'm a big guy." So I don't know. What do we got? Yep, more underground. Now we got American Eagle plaid underwear. And it's a funny thing because the only people who are going to see that is on Discord. And, Kathy needs to check into the law because that's actually illegal. The pictures themselves aren't illegal, but what they call motive and intent is. Because they just, and it was funny because, again, on Grady Judd, they got into this very issue. It's called sextortion, where somebody says, if you do not do what I tell you to do, I'm going to put these pictures of you on the internet. And it doesn't matter where it came from. It's the intent. It's criminal intent. But you can't, these people don't care. They certainly do not care about children. And again, it does not matter where the images came from. Doesn't matter if you can go and search for them and find them. It's the intent of what you're going to do with the material. This gets into criminal intent. If you are going to use these images in retaliation to cause someone to lose their job or something along that line, that is considered sextortion. And it is prosecutable. It's both a criminal and civil offense. And these people that get on these various channels don't realize that they are facing a liability when they post this stuff. Because she's not posting it on YouTube. She's not posting it on Twitter. She's not posting it on Telegram or on Facebook. She's posting it on Discord, where very few people are going to see it. It's a platform where Discord has no respect for the law. That's why they were created in the first place. And she certainly doesn't have any respect for a complete stranger that she's never talked to or met. She's doing this out of spite because she's a mean, selfish person. And she said that says it's classless to be wearing underwear on Facebook. Well, it's classless to be republishing this stuff on Discord because Kathy Lake doesn't understand the concept of criminal intent. It's the intent. What are you doing with what you're using? You're not advertising for Calvin Klein or American Eagle. You are attempting to humiliate an individual because you do not like that individual. That's why you're doing it. That's the intent. And that's what can get you into trouble. YouTube doesn't allow it. If she put that on YouTube, she'd be banned. I can't put it on here. Number one, because it's unethical. And number two, I could get banned from YouTube for doing that. But Discord, you can do anything you damn well please. You know, Tim Homseth got kicked off of YouTube for doing this kind of thing. You know, he goes around putting up pictures of dead babies on the internet. Kathy Lake doesn't seem to be bothered by that. That's just going to put a picture of a dead child on the internet. Called glorifying violence. Yeah, usually about this time, this is when my audience falls off. And I'm a small channel to begin with. I think the peak tonight was 21 people. You know, but that's another thing that's funny about all this. I am one of the smallest channels on YouTube. I get roughly 1,200 people on my subscriber list. I get average of 15, 20 people a night. If I get over 25 people, that's unusual. You know, people will come back and watch the recording, and they actively tell people, don't tune into his show. Well, the thing about the underwear pictures is that's all you see is the underwear. You don't see a face. All you see is the underwear. And the fact that it's obviously a male wearing the underwear. I have yet to see an image with a face in it that you can identify the person. This is the problem here. If she sends that image to Nancy Grace, any of them, and claims that it's a specific individual and it turns out it's not, she's in serious legal trouble. She sends the image to Nancy Grace, period. She's in trouble. And it won't be good for Tim Homseth because if Nancy Grace gets pissed off at Tim Homseth because of this underwear, Tim Homseth is dead meat. She'll crucify him. And, you know, it would be hell for Tim Homseth if he got Nancy Grace's attention. It would not bode well for him at all. But, you know, this is the kind of people they are. Apparently, according to this person that's sending me this information, there's no discussion about missing and abused children at all. Not one mention. It's all about underwear. About the color of the underwear, the style of the underwear, who's wearing the underwear. That's it. This is supposed to be the PPTF, this big international auditing firm out to stop the predators, the pedophiles, expose all these people. They ain't exposing shit. They're talking about a guy's underwear. Not doing anything but wearing underwear. And they had to actually go and look for this stuff. They had to go peeling back through years and years and years and years of Facebook content, chasing down people's relatives that, from the 1900s. Why? I mean, the stuff they're talking about, the guy was actually doing something honorable. So they don't even realize that they are actually talking about somebody that actually did something. I don't know what razor video you're talking about, but no, this is normal. This is my normal audience count, 12 or 13 people. So that, this isn't about an audience count. It's about getting it on the record, what is going on with these people, and stuff like that. These people are just proving my point by the stuff that they're putting on these various databases. They are not about saving children. They are not about stopping pedophilia. They are not about stopping child trafficking. And they are not about seeing people who commit crimes against children being taken off the street and put in jail. They don't care about any of that. They are out actively trolling people that are calling them out for their fraud. Yeah, he lies about everything. The panda eyes thing is probably the biggest lie he's told and the biggest abuse of children. Because he is distorting what happened to these children instead of bringing out the facts. I exposed him on that, and it didn't stop him. He keeps it up. But that's who he is. That's who his followers are. They are pathological liars. They cannot stop. They cannot tell the truth. They have to lie and lie and lie again. And, that's what it is. And they picking on the relatives of a total stranger. Why? What does that have to do with anything? That's not going to stop a pedophile raping a child. That's not going to stop a pedophile from looking at child pornography. It's not going to do anything. It's just people being mean and insensitive and selfish. That's all it is. It's pathetic, really. But this is the reality we're living in. We've got this technology that is out there available to anyone sitting in a dark closet someplace to become famous. Even if it's being a pathological liar in the process. That's what's going on here. It's hours and hours and hours and hours of crap. Hours and hours and hours and hours of nonsense. Hours and hours and hours of lies and gaslighting and stalking and attacking and everything else. Because that's all these people are capable of. So they can sit there and go over and they're concentrating, they're calling me out because of his grandfather. The guy's dead. He's been dead for years. What does this have to do with child pornography? What does this have to do with child trafficking? What does this have to do with any of that stuff? It has nothing to do with it. It's gaslighting an individual that they don't like. That's all it is. It's a vendetta. Well, it doesn't matter what his grandfather was or was not. It has nothing to do with anything. I don't care. What I care about is being falsely accused of murder, falsely accused of being a mobster, falsely accused of being part of a group going around eating babies, selling babies, sucking chemicals out of babies, making diamonds out of babies, all this crap. That's what I care about. If these people would have left me alone, not talked about me, not done anything with me, I wouldn't care. Tim Holmseth can make a fool of himself for the rest of his life for all I care. I want to be left alone. That's the only reason I'm here. These people don't seem to understand that. Alex wants to be left alone. Levi wants to be left alone. Everybody wants to be left alone. You got all these famous people out there that you can attack. Go after Joe Biden. Go after Brandon. Go after all these famous people. But you're not capable of doing that because you don't believe in that stuff. You just believe in being a troll. You believe in gaslighting. And that's it. And running around sending pictures of people's underwear in order to try and make it so that they can't get a job. It's interesting. I guess these people don't know how to read. But, I don't get it. I never will get it. I don't get people like Kathy Lake. I don't get people like this Canadian woman whose name I can't pronounce. I don't get Tim Holmside. They're a waste of time. They're a waste of energy. But they decided to put my name out there with all these lies. And then they ask me why I go after them. If these people are too stupid to understand that, then I can't help that. But this shit's out there, and I have to address it. I have to say, look, I'm not guilty of this stuff. You got some maniac out there living in a car telling lies about me. And he won't stop. And he's telling lies about a lot of other people that are innocent, that aren't guilty of anything except trying to live a life free of harassment. And Kathy Lake is right in there with them. She's just as guilty as they are. So that's just the way it is. But, what can I say? All kinds of weird asses out there. And never going to stop it. And this is beyond repair. There's nothing I can do about this now. This has been going on for years. My life has been destroyed. I just, I'll be 73 in a couple of months. And it'll be, that much closer to when I take the eternal dirt nap. The human life expectancy is what, 80 to 90 years? So my time is running out. I won't have to put up with this for much longer. So, these idiots can knock themselves out. Nothing I can do about it. Anyway, folks, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go watch some television, watch the smuggler shows and all that. And I'll be putting more content on in the next few days about the Blanchard case. So stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification buttons so you can come back and listen to this old fool rant about this, that, and the other thing and try to satisfy my 12 people that were canned here tonight. Y'all have a good one. Live the good life and all that happy stuff, and we'll see you again. Good night.